Bonjour, it's Théo. Today we are going to rank 20 of the most iconic Parisian places, monuments, museums, Parisian cafés, to see if they are overrated or underrated. And we have a lot of things to say. Let's sit on the bed to have a cozy vibe. I've chosen 20 places that are really important, really iconic, especially if you come in Paris for tourism, because some places can look really good and when you are inside, it's not really the best. And if you are coming to Paris this summer, especially for the Olympics, I've just reopened the applications for my travel planning offer. I can help you to plan your trip, create a personalized itinerary, and help you to visit Paris. I'm gonna close the applications in less than a week, so if you want my help to plan your trip to Paris, click the first link in the description. Let's start with the Musée du Louvre, the Louvre Museum. Is it overrated, underrated? I think this one is accurately rated. It's really famous, but it deserves the hype because it's the most iconic museum in Paris and maybe in the world. It's the biggest one. You can see the Joconde, the Mona Lisa, a lot of incredible works of art. I think this one is an unmissable if you come to Paris, and it deserves the reputation, it deserves the success. I also made a video about the Louvre, so you can just check it out on my YouTube channel. Let's keep going with a classic Parisian café, the Café de Flore. It was a literature café in the 19th and 20th century. A lot of writers and poets used to come there, and they're still coming a little bit, but it's so touristic, I think it's overrated right now. The food is okay, but it's not the best. And I think that many people are coming there expecting it to be wonderful, but it's just a classic cafe for the food. It's not an incredible restaurant. So come here for the vibe, for the literature vibe, but not especially for the food. Of course, we need to talk about the Tour Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower. Is it overrated, underrated? It's overrated, guys. I'm sorry about that, because it's a beautiful monument, but just the surrounding around, it's really crowded. You can find some pickpockets or scammers. I was there yesterday and I find some scammers. It's a good place to hang out occasionally, but it's not as incredible as many people think. It's still an unmissable if you come to Paris, but don't stay too long in the neighborhood. Les Deux Magots, another iconic cafe next to the Café de Flore, it's just next to it. I think it's underrated because Les Deux Magots is famous, but we really know Café de Flore, and I think Les Deux Magots has a better literature vibe. It's still really accurate to say a literature cafe for Les Deux Magots, and the food is really nice. It's not the best in Paris, but it's a good food. You can have a good dinner, and I think it's underrated because we usually talk a lot about the Café de Flore, not enough about Les Deux Magots. And if you are hesitating between both, you should try Les Deux Magots. The Place des Vosges, it's one of my favorite gardens in Paris. Of course, it's underrated. It's located in the Marais. It's like the trendy, artsy area of Paris. And it's a cute garden, it's beautiful, it has really this Parisian vibe. Even if it can be a bit crowded, it's really nice to hang out there. And I think it's underrated because we know the Tuileries, the Jardin de Luxembourg, but not enough the Place des Vosges. Another Parisian cafe that is really known by the tourists, the Café Angelina, located in the Rue de Rivoli. It's an iconic place, it's beautiful, but the Parisian people don't know it that much now because it's really touristic. It's a bit overrated, not too much, because it's still good. You can have like a good hot chocolate, a delicious Mont Blanc. It's a good place for pastries. It's a beautiful place. I think it's still a bit overrated, not because it's not good, but because so many people are talking about that. There are so many different places all around that deserve more fame than the Café Angelina, even if it's a good place. The Jardin des Tuileries. This is the most iconic French garden, French park in Paris. It's just in front of the Louvre because it's the garden of the museum. It's accurately rated because it's really famous and it deserves the hype. It can be a bit crowded sometimes because it's at the Louvre, it's in the center of Paris, but it's still a good place to hang out, to have a walk. I think it's accurately rated. Let's keep going with another park, the Parc des Buttes-Chaumont. This one is so underrated. It's located in the 19th arrondissement. You won't find a lot of monuments or museums there, but the park is huge, it's magnificent, and it's a perfect piece of countryside in the urban world. It's an unmissable if you want to have a quiet rest in Paris. The Place Vendôme. You can find the Ritz Hotel, all the luxury shops. It's near the Opéra Garnier, and it's definitely overrated. The Place Vendôme, it's like a big place, it's beautiful, but if you don't have thousands of euros to spend, you have nothing to do there. Oh, we are judging a big one right now. Montmartre. Montmartre, this is the typical iconic district of Paris. It's beautiful. I think it's accurately rated because I won't say that Montmartre is overrated because I was there a few weeks ago and it's still magnificent and it still has this typical Parisian vibe even with all the tourists. And it's unmissable if you come to Paris. Of course, I made a video about Montmartre, so check it out on the YouTube channel. And in Montmartre, you can also find the Sacré-Cœur. Is this one overrated or underrated? I think it's a bit overrated because the Sacré-Cœur is beautiful, but all the streets of Montmartre also deserve the visit. And many people are just going for the Sacré-Cœur. You have a magnificent view, but it's not the only thing you should try in Montmartre. Another one that is not so famous, the cimetière du Père-Lachaise. The Père-Lachaise graveyard. This one is a graveyard and it's a famous place in Paris for the locals with the tombs of many famous people like Jim Morrison, the Doors singer, but also Frédéric Chopin and many composers, writers and French poets. It's a really beautiful place. Even if it's a graveyard, you think that it's a bit like weird, but it's a beautiful place to visit. It's a good place if you want to have a walk. Okay, now we talk about a big one, especially for the tourists. Cédric Grolet, is it overrated or underrated? His shop in Paris. It's located near the Opéra Garnier, and I think it's definitely overrated, not because the food is not good, but the problem is that you have to wait so long if you are coming. You're gonna pay a lot, you're waiting for 2 hours, and you don't even have some room inside if you want to sit. I don't really like this experience. I think you could do better. I would love to see Cédric Grolet opening like a big place with a lot of seats, a lot of tables, so it will give the real Parisian pastry experience. Tell me in the comments what you think about Cédric Grolet. The Muséum d'Histoire Naturelle, the National History Museum. Not everybody knows that we have one in Paris. I remember I visited it when I was like really young, so I don't have that much memories about it, but I remember it was great. I think it's underrated. It really deserves the try. They also have the Jardin des Plantes, a beautiful garden in front of it. And I think it's a good place, especially if you have kids and you want to show them like some science and biology and different animals. So it's underrated. Another incredible Parisian garden, the Jardin du Luxembourg. I think this one is accurately rated. It's one of the most famous in Paris. It's a beautiful park. It's big enough so you can always find like a quiet place if you want to have some rest or to read a book. It's a really good park to visit. And of course, I made a video about it. You know the rules. I made a video about it. You can check it on YouTube. Notre Dame, the Notre Dame Cathedral. It was burning in 2019. It's still in construction right now, but they want to open it in the few years, in the next years. I think it's accurately rated because it's a beautiful monument, it's incredible, it's from the Middle Ages and it's still there. Even after the burning, you can still admire the monument. It's in the center of Paris, in a beautiful district. I think this one is an unmissable. Okay, I'm keep going with one that I'm sure you don't know, the Arène de Lutèce. It's a quiet park and I think it's so underrated. It's perfect if you want to have some rest without a lot of people. It's the oldest construction in Paris. It was an arena during the Roman Empire. And it's still there in Paris. You can come with the kids, they can play like football in the arena, and you can go in the seats and have a little rest. It's not the most incredible monument in Paris, but it's not really famous. It's just famous by the locals. And if you want to have some rest in a park and read a book, it's a perfect place. Okay, we are about to finish with some really important monuments. We have the Arc de Triomphe. This one is really famous, but I think it's overrated. It's beautiful, you have a magnificent view in Paris, but it's located on a roundabout with a lot of cars. It's not the perfect typical vibe that you will find in Montmartre, for example. So it's a bit crowded, it feels like a touristic place when you are there, but it's still an unmissable monument to see, even if it's overrated. After the Arc de Triomphe, let's keep going with the streets that you can find at the Arc de Triomphe, the Champs-Élysées, and also this one is definitely overrated. I think the Champs-Élysées doesn't deserve the hype that we are giving, even if it's a beautiful street if you want to go shopping in Paris, it's an unmissable to do shopping. It's so international that you don't feel that much the Parisian vibe. It's not as typical as before, and it's so international, like you will find like a Disney store. It's not like a little street in Paris where you can find the beautiful typical shops. So I think it lost a little bit of its charm with the years, and it's definitely overrated. The Centre Pompidou, this one is one of the most iconic museums of contemporary art in Paris. I think it's underrated because we know a little bit the Centre Pompidou, but usually people that are coming for tourism are not thinking about this place. And it's a great place. You have a lot of workshops and exhibitions. Also, it's open for kids. And it's not just a difficult to access contemporary art. You have a lot of workshops that you can get involved in, do some drawings or create some stuff with people there. It's really modern and you have many things to do inside. I think I made 20, but I have a 21 on my list. It's one of my favorite that is really underrated, the Musée Rodin. It's a beautiful museum. You have like a mansion and a big garden, a beautiful garden that is just perfect to have a walk surrounded by statues of Auguste Rodin. The most famous is the Thinker, and it's an unmissable in Paris because I think that not a lot of people talk about the Musée Rodin, but it deserves more hype because it's quiet, it's beautiful, it's artsy, and it's just perfect if you want to have a walk and you don't know what to do in the afternoon, you can go to the Musée Rodin. It's perfect. I love this place. I've made 21 monuments and places. Tell me in the comments what is your overrated place in Paris and what is your underrated place. I want to see which one you are choosing and I want to know if you agree with me on my rating. Tell me everything in the comments and share your favorite places in Paris in the comments, and if you have never made videos about it, I can plan a visit for the next videos. Don't forget to check the link in the description if you want my help to plan your trip to Paris. I'm closing the application for the travel planning in just a few days, so hurry up. And if you want to explore Paris and discover the French way of life, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. I post every single day, so see you tomorrow.